100 this
Uh-oh.
135-mile one-way route. And I mean, I was just outraged by that, because I could probably fill 6 pages just going from Harris Grade, where the plant is, down to the Y. I mean, that historically has been a drag race place for our teenagers. There's accidents all the time. It has a weight limitation. When you turn off one and you go up Harris Grade Road, it says, no more than X amount, of weight on this road. And again, beyond the plant, it goes up into the hills, and that's where it's really dangerous, with the curse. They won't be using that section of Harris Grade Road. But the fact that, are they going to have to put a waiver on, these full tankers? And the full tankers will be coming down, rather steep hill. And again, none of this was mentioned in the negative deck. It was all signed off. It was, I mean, just, you don't know about it because the county is signed off over the counter.
It's a 1-page letter, Appendix C, in the mitigated neg deck from some traffic analysis firm. I would never hire them, and I've hired some. I haven't worked for one, but oh, that was so short. It was 9 sentences, and we both commented on that. Both of our letters pointed this out. This is and anyway, and so Harris Grade Road, it's a steep road up the hill, and of course you go the other way down, and if a truck driver came out and took the wrong turn with their load of crude oil, this probably never happened, but if they did, if they turn left instead of right, if they turn right, they're going to go down and run into the traffic that you're talking about at the Y, school buses and everything. If they happen to turn left and whoops, they're going to go down this Harris Grade Road, and they undoubtedly would tip over and spill their load into the canyon. It's really steep and windy, but we're not going to pitch that to the Planning Commission.
No.
No, everybody will turn right. Okay. But
sadly enough, everybody is turning right.
Yep. Who always turned right? No. Okay. Jeannie, help me out here. Who always turned right?
Jerry Connor.
Jerry Connor, and that was on the basis of the.
You didn't want to go across traffic. It's just safer to turn right.
It was because of the FBI director.
Oh.
Way back when, he always told his driver to turn right. He didn't want to turn left. So Jerry, yeah, we could tell me the same thing. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Anybody else? It's 5:39. Do I have time to say one more story about this subject? Jeannie, you're in charge now. This is my item.
I don't know.
I didn't say anything about what the VP said from Sentinel Peak, right?
Bring it up.
Yes.
I'll bring it up. Okay, so the VP calls me and says, so we have a long range plan for the Purisima Hills for the 3,500 acres that we own, and that involves affordable housing. Oh, but I heard that first, but then when he actually talked to me, he said, well, we want to build some what's the other term? He didn't say McMansions, but
ranchettes.
Ranchettes. We want to build ranchettes up there, and and affordable housing too, like 10% or something. And I'm thinking, are you serious? You're talking about in the ESHA? This is environmentally sensitive habitat up in Purisima Hills. It's, I think, protected. I think, right? And so he's telling me this. I said, oh, okay, I just let him talk and talk and talk. I said, well, now wait, are you sure? This sounds like you'd be. I almost wanted to say, do you want me to bring this up in front of the Planning Commission and stuff? And I don't know but I might want to, because he told me all this stuff. This is their long range plan, is to get the oil going so they can get a revenue stream so that they can build in the Purisima Hills a bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, and by the way, some affordable housing, 10%, which that's never enough. 100% would be okay, except not there, somewhere else, down in Lompoc somewhere. So anyway, that was very interesting, and they haven't called me back since I. So there's that. And I told you that about the Cat Canyon, right? How they just shut that in, and so I'm not sure what to make of that and what to say, whether to say something to the commission or what to write about it. But we need to write an op-ed. You know, we put out our press release, and I'd like to see an op-ed or two and letters to the editor on it to support us before we get before the August 14th commission hearing. And we could write it if you would sign it. But my name is all over the press release, so I'm not sure I want to sign it. I'd like to see letters or an op-ed signed by others. I'm looking at all of you, but no pressure. But let me know, please.
Well, I think our op-ed might be good to be signed from Janet Blevins, since she's a board member of ours and she's also a school board member in Lompoc. But if others wanted to write letters to the editor or try to get op-eds, that would be great too. The more that we can get out there, the better.
Yep, fill it up. And you know, you're right, Janet would be good, and she could sign it as for us or as a school board member. And Morel, of course, will send something in from CPA,
Mhm.
I presume. Good presumption, Morel.
Okay.
The minutes reflect it, and so who else? Let's pin them down. Gianna, come on. Thank you. She's
And
smiling. That means she's going to try to write something. And Diana, we'll see. You have to think about it. You're running. You're a candidate, so you have to think about it.
Yeah, I have a lot on my plate right now. I'm resigning from the school district. I'm running for mayor, so I need to get those things kind of settled first.
Yep, we understand.
Yeah, thank you.
We're glad to have you join us
Mhm.
in this meeting. Thank you.
I'm learning a lot, so I'd like to continue.
Ken, is the hearing in Santa Maria or in?
It
Santa-
is. It
Santa
is
Maria?
in Santa Maria. So it's August 14th, 9 a.m.
Okay.
And it's the first item, as from what I heard, listening in on the projection report yesterday, it'll be the first item, which means about 9:20, 9:30. But be there at 9, because sometimes they go through the other stuff quite
And-
quickly.
And Alan says he can share this with CEC's climate justice director to sign and support the initiative and see how else CEC can support. I would imagine we'd want to get a letter, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but get a letter that's signed jointly by a number of different organizations to present to the county.
Yeah.
Now, EDC is not representing us because many times CPA, we sign their letters, you know, with 50 other groups. Can they, since they're not representing us, I guess they can't do that.
I mean, it's conceivable that they could sign on, but probably not. You know, if they're not if they don't have a client, they generally don't. And so but I think if we have several of us around the table here signing a joint letter,
Mhm.
this would be great. And so,
And I didn't mean to say that others couldn't sign their own letter. I was just thinking that some organizations that may not want to,
so thank you, Janie.
just to
I'm
make
sorry,
it easier.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but we could have except a couple of us, like Jeannie and I, are going on vacation starting tomorrow late or Saturday morning early. And maybe Nancy will write such a letter, and we could have a sign-on letter, or we could have, and on vacation doesn't mean we're out of touch. We stay in touch when we can. So let's have a joint letter, or let's have letters. What do you all think?
That would be good.
Sierra Club, do you think you can have your own letter? Or do you want to sign on?
We often do both. So as SLO chapter, we definitely have to coordinate with Santa Barbara Ventura chapter. They would take the lead because it's within their jurisdiction. But I think that it should not be a problem collaborating on a cross-county chapter letter for Sierra Club.
Thank you,
And
John.
Nancy, I'm happy to help as you're drafting letter, maybe help turn it into talking points or something like that. If we're asking people to show up and give comment, that's always my #1 thing I ask for. So happy to help with that. My email's in the chat.
And thank you, Jenna. And please, John, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll pass this on to Katie Davis,
Yes.
our chapter chair.
Yep.
And so I'm sure she'll be in on this. In fact, she might be, she hasn't written her typical oil column yet. And so she may highlight this. If not, it'll be in a separate story.
Please, John, tell her she should highlight this. I told her this about an hour ago. I
Oh,
talked to
okay. You spoke with her then. Okay, good.
So, she's on board, but
Good.
there's so much going on. And so it's hard to, okay, so there's this and there's that. Come on, Katie. I said,
What about-
we need Sierra Club on this big time.
What about
We
GU?
really
Are
do.
they on it, Ken?
GU's on it, yeah.
Okay.
And there's Nancy, she works for GU too, besides for us. And so she's nodding her head. And Carla Frisk is on our board and on the GU board. So yeah, GU will sign a letter. They might have their own letter.
Yeah.
So you'll look into that. And anybody else? Thank you all
Well,
so much.
I'm planning on doing a letter, so,
Thank you.
but I'll do it as a, yeah, I'll do as individual.
Yeah, don't tell them you're a former,
Anything,
SBCAN
former.
mayor, this or that. No, so a lot of times it really
That'll
helps.
hurt my credibility.
No, it would help your credibility, I'm sure.
No, I
But
don't think so.
Okay, Ken, and I'm gonna call John Park and Mike Cooney, at least those two.
great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and then I need to call my, he's the chair currently, so I need to call him. He's District 5,
Oh,
and then I've already talked to District 4. So yeah, we'll all talk to our commissioners before the 14th.
Yeah.
And warm them up to it. And then we'll be there, and we'll round up a lot of other people to be there too, and we'll have some op-eds and letters to the editor. Thank you. I feel much heartened. Last month I didn't have a big crew here, but I have a good crew. I feel good, and thank you so much,
So
Jeannie.
we ought to put timelines on this. So the hearing is August 14th. The date to submit written letters would be probably a few days before that. So we need to have like a date when this letter will be drafted and circulated, and a date we need to get it back by, and a date to get it into them. So working backwards, if we go into the 14th,
Means tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, for me.
so the 14th, the hearing's on the 14th. When do they need it the Friday before, or do they need it the Monday before?
Well, the Friday before is good, but earlier is even better.
So we need to get it into them by August 9th. Get to the commission by August 9th.
Yeah,
And then we'll work on timelines. Backing up from that to make sure we get it out to everybody and get permissions and signatures.
Yep. And then calls to commissioners, the week before the night, from the 5th till the 9th, if not sooner. Thank you, Jeannie. And meanwhile, I'm hearing we're in Orchid, and all we hear all day, I mean, every 10 minutes or so, we hear the jets taking off, and Cliff hears them too. And we like these jets or planes because they're going up to Figueroa Mountain and fighting the fire. And so I think I like them. I mean, sometimes I don't like that firefighting technique, but mostly, I mean, these people that are flying the planes, they're brave souls, and as are the ones that are driving up there. And there's a lot of them from all over the state and beyond that are driving through here lately. We see them all the time, and we're breathing the smoke and getting the ash here in Orchid.
But we gotta fight the fires.
Yeah. So, anything else on this subject? Thank you very much, everybody. All right. And Janie, the next item on the agenda is,
Santa Maria Riverbed Restoration.
oh,
So,
good.
yeah.
It's your item.
I'll speak up here. SBCAN received a grant to do some restoration of former encampments on the Santa Maria River, to restore about 30 of them. And we are working with Channel Islands Restoration to actually plan the plantings, get the coordinate volunteers, and go out there and do it with our help and with our volunteers' help. They're going to help us round up volunteers, but we're going to round up volunteers too, to actually do the restoration. And the way it works, the county has found housing for about 20 people right now. And they're going to be finding housing for another 10. And then when those sites are vacant, they have a crew that goes in there and cleans them up. So they cleaned up about 20 so far. They haven't placed the other 10 people and haven't cleaned that up yet, but they plan to do that sometime this year. And then our job is to put in new plants to restore those areas that will help with the habitat out there. And while we're doing this, we want to do it not only to restore the habitat, but to bring a group of people together who will work on watershed issues in the future. And we've brought some people together as we started to work on watershed issues in the estuary, and or we brought people together to try to go out and do testing in the river estuary until the road got wiped out. So we want to start doing that estuary testing again and form a group of, we call them a clean water team. I think we're going to change them to Santa Maria River Keepers as the name, and continue on with that effort. And I'm glad Steph is here because we've worked with her to do some of this work in the estuary. She's done more with Creekland. She's the one who got us involved with that. And we're trying to actually bring together different grants and do a whole variety of watershed work on the Santa Maria River. So I shouldn't have maybe just limited this to Santa Maria Riverbed restoration, but that's the thing that we're going to be starting on in August. We'll do some more planning, but the planting won't actually happen until the rains start. And hopefully there are rains this year, because the plants will do better with rain. But I think we're going to look at doing some supplemental watering too, just to make sure. But that's still in the planning stages, and anyone who's interested in being involved, we'd really appreciate your help. And Steph, you want to add anything to Santa Maria watershed issues?
Yeah, we probably should set a separate time aside for that. There's a lot going on, but please do let me know when your planning meetings are happening. I'd like to try to attend. But I think that the bigger picture is to keep in mind that there's a lot going on in the Santa Maria River right now. There's a recent lawsuit settlement to require the Twitchell Authority to release more water for fish-related and wildlife-related activities. So County Public Works is working with the Bureau of Reclamation to figure out how that's all going to happen. And then, as Jean mentioned, there was, and hopefully will continue under her guidance and SBCAN's efforts, the monitoring of water quality in the estuary. Again, we got started, and as Jeannie mentioned, the road got closed, and it's open now. And so hopefully we can help get that back up and going. And then we did apply for another Rose Foundation grant that will allow us to really expand the activities in the Santa Maria River, including the very degraded Orchid Solomon Creek. And if that is funded, we'll find out by the end of the year. We'll be designing a wetland at the end of Orchid Salmon Creek to treat high nitrate levels coming out of that subwatershed before it hits the estuary. And we're working with other conservation partners like the Resource Conservation District, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, a federal agency, and others who have particular technical expertise to bring to that to that effort. But we're still very excited to keep working with SBCAN to get the community further educated and involved in river and watershed issues.
Thanks, Steph. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. But we didn't plan for a lot of details on it at this time.
That's cool.
But thank you for the overview. And yeah, I'm really excited to be doing more work with pre-plans. And as a matter of fact, pre-plans just put on a summer day exploration, what did you call it? Adventures. Summer adventures for middle school kids. And we helped round up students from Guadalupe and Santa Maria that went into San Luis Obispo County to see what's going on. And unfortunately, I didn't get to go to any of those, but I guess that's all finished right now. Steph?
But it'll be for the next 2 summers as well. And then there's some professional development for teachers as a part of that BWET funded program, which is a NOAA, NOAA, which is a federal agency funded program.
So how did that go?
I wasn't able to go either. I would hope that Danielle could come at a future SBCAN meeting and give you all the lowdown, or one of her other educators on the team. That would be awesome. And maybe some photos. I know there's some social media going around now. So if you go to Facebook page, Creeklands Conservation, you'll probably see some of that stuff on the social media pages.
Great. Any comments on that? Okay, that's it for my report.
And
Updates from participants. So who else would like to tell us what they have going on? And share your information or ask for assistance, whatever you'd like to do.
Robert, are you still there? Yeah,
Call on somebody when they don't have their.
put him on the
hi,
spot.
hi.
Are you there, Robert?
Yeah,
Yes.
folks, still here.
Okay, well, you just had a wonderful event that I went to that was a poetry reading at UDW. And so Robert is a union organizer at UDW and with the best union hall in town. And that was a really good event. I just wanted to give you a chance if you wanted to say something. I'm reading Deborah Tabola's book currently. It was a great.
Okay, wonderful. So, we are the Union of In-Home Health Caregivers, and I'm one of the union reps. And I met this woman named Deborah Tabola. She was dealing with trying to resolve some issues with the county and the IHSS program related to back pay that was owed to her because of delays in the county processing her care paperwork for her mother during COVID. And so, as you probably recall, a lot of the offices were closed, people were working from home. And so a lot of the bureaucratic things kind of got disrupted. And Deborah and her mom were impacted by that. So as the rep, I was working with her through that issue. Then she explained about her history working through a program called Poetic Justice, where she taught incarcerated men creative writing and poetry.
And women.
And women.
Oh, I'm sorry, men. That was after I'm sorry, previously incarcerated.
That's okay. I wasn't around for that time. I met her after all of this when she was caring for her mom. So I'm not aware of all of the details, other than it sounded like a well-known program that actually produced a lot of results for some of the incarcerated folks who participated. And she was very passionate about it. So flash forward, she just recently finished a chapbook of new work. And then shortly after that, she was diagnosed with the reoccurrence of ovarian cancer. So and I talk pretty regularly, and she brought me up to date as to what's happening with her health. She was planning to do a poetry reading at Allen Hancock because she knows folks there within the literature department, I believe. But the time frame would have taken longer to coordinate and organize. And of course, UDW has our Union Hall, the old Salvation Army building. So we had Deborah do her reading. She's a member of UDW, so she read to her family, friends. Friends joined her and read some of her poems so that she didn't have to try to stand as she's feeling fatigued and try to read 15 poems herself. One of each of her friends from her writing group read a poem, and then Deborah read just a handful. And I do feel like we were honored and gifted to have her as a member. We were honored and gifted to facilitate this event and witness what happened in that room that day. So Ken, glad you were there. And I can't wait until the video of it is going to be available at some point, and we'll be able to share it and a link on YouTube. But because I guess of some of the protections for some of the work that hasn't been published yet, it's going to take a little while before the video of the whole event is available. But it was really special. And if you aren't familiar with her work, take Google Deborah Tobola. That's Tobola. And her poems will come up, interviews with her will come up. We're very lucky to have somebody in our community that has such a brilliant creative writing career. So that's
And-
it.
Thank
Sorry
you,
for
Robert.
Sorry for my interruption. Yeah, I guess it was when she was working with incarcerated individuals, it was men only. But the way that Ken and I met her, she was working with formerly incarcerated individuals. She took that program and brought it out into the community. And as people came back into the community, she worked with them. It was men and women, and helped them to reintegrate into the community through her Poetic Justice project. And Ken and I saw a couple of performances, and at the end of them was the best part, because the cast would sit down and would tell their stories, their individual stories, and would answer questions from the audience. And so we got to interact and get to know them. Yeah, it was really
So,
nice.
What did you miss while you were incarcerated? Somebody asked, not me, but I heard pork chops and pancakes. And it's
Oh,
just
wow.
it just stuck with me. And I told Deborah this story 2 weeks ago when I saw her again for the first time in 10 years, that that just hit me. And I feed our dogs every day. And I'd say, "Are you ready? You got pork chops and pancakes." And it just, I don't know why it stuck, but it stuck. And so I told Deborah that, and she was moved. And
We
it
we
moves
were
me every day.
hoping,
I think of her every day. I think of those people every day. That's
yeah,
whatever you might miss.
we're hoping that she will have a chance to do a similar project with caregivers, because folks, when they take on the role as a caregiver for a parent that's aging or ailing, or even a child, they really put themselves on the back burner. They are often isolated, doing the care inside their homes. They sort of withdraw from the community. They have to work part-time, or either stop working altogether. So there's a lot of isolation that can be related to caregiving. We're hoping that Deborah can help some of those folks find their voices through creative writing, through poetry. And as she said on Saturday, we still have plans for that baby to be born. So watch this space.
Great.
Thank you, Robert. And Jeannie, if I can, so Jeannie, she did this for her mom. She was the primary caregiver for her mom. And my parents, they were able to, they bought into a place that took care of them for life. And I was still there at the end of both of their lives. And Jeannie was there at the end of my dad's life. But we didn't have that primary care giving thing with my parents, but Jeannie did with her mom. So she's well aware of how that is. And so learning about this other aspect of Deborah Tobola's life, that was moving for me. I understood it, and her poetry was just amazing. So I've got two books, one she inscribed to me personally and one that's just she signed it. So if anybody wants to borrow that one, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, so any other people would like to bring up something that's going on with your organization or discuss anything? Well, it doesn't sound like anybody does. So I think we can conclude this meeting, and we'll get back to you guys about our topic on the truck rack. And just let us know if you have something coming up, you want us to help us publicize it for you, or if you want to work with us on it, please let us know. We like to jointly sponsor things if that works out.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Nice to meet everybody today. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Shannon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.